It's a best of 5. If it's a best of 1, you walk away and you think, crap, could have taken that one. In a best of 5, you have a chance to show it up again, but in this game, at least you have the Tom Kench to be helping out the Civet. I'm really looking at what Keeper can do for that Civet.
It's every member of Astralis here. There is a 5-man gang looking for a level 1 play. Be very, very afraid. And Deb's like, I am out of here. He will be spotting out the whole of Astralis, going on a bit of a tour of X7's blue side jungle. There is no return ward quite yet.
Is that like pentakill coming to a blue side, coming to blue side jungle? That's their first tour day. Setting 3 nights in blue side jungle. Gonna stop off at mid tower.
Blue buff selling out fast. No jungle buff, no entry.
Those of you that live in the top lane area, come buy tickets to our show.
Oh, teleport's coming at a premium these days, I tell you. Summer holiday trip prices, nightmare. I've now suddenly started thinking about the economics of Summoner's Rift travel and transport. Perhaps on a more appropriate
Oh my god, can we get a
note.
tour bus bard skin?
No, it feels more and more like, you know, like a Ghibli skin. I mean, Bard is basically
the
a Ghibli
cat
character.
bus.
Yes, Bard bus.
Great.
Exactly.
Bard bus.
I mean, maybe Tom Kench gets.
He is effectively a Ghibli. That's effectively his whole aesthetic. But going to be shuttling in minions into the enemy turret is going to be Syncox very early into this matchup. When you put down those soldiers, you often can get the early shove in on the first wave. What you're trying to do, Ari, in this match is you are trying to take those hard electrocute trades if you see the Azir misposition. But if you have to walk around on what's going to happen...
Oh, Viking.
Those, okay, I was about to finish off that point. I'm like, hang on a second, that's a red buff on Viking. What's he doing here?
So he went from level 2. He's going to come and try and get over towards this blue buff, which was stolen away by Taxa. And of course, he can still look to make an early play towards this bot side because he can basically buff, but he can try and get to the level 3 off this Gromp. Actually, I don't think he'll get it because he's only taken 1 camp before this. So maybe just have to look for a level 2 gank.
But the ward's timed out, so he's still not spotted either way. What the real importance to this is that he's gone untracked, right? I mean, he's going to be a camp behind because, of course, there was the steal coming out of Astralis, but it is still a way for him to reverse clear. And what this does mean is that often when you start top to bot, the entirety of the game after that point, you're clearing jungles in that direction, top side to bot side. By doing this, effectively, you're reverse clearing, where this is where you're kind of like switching your pathing up midway through it. It loses you some time on first clear, but it means on your second and third ones after that point, you want it. It means you can focus on different places after this point. But he's not here for top lane. Tax has got onto Chasey.
Does have an audacious charge, starts to try and stack up that 3 Talon strike and forces the flash to prevent that. Viking will be around to try and fight for this Scuttle Crab, though, and I want to see how this goes.
Let's look what Prio happens. Also, there's no red buff on Taxa. He's lacking damage.
This could hurt. We'll get a smite off trying to do it. That means Viking secures it. Chasey comes over with a parlay flash from Taxa to get a 3 Talon strike knockup. He's got nowhere to go. Viking flashes for, can't quite secure it.
Red buff?
The red buff burn is not quite there. Survives on practically nothing.
He's dead to an E. What's happening with Viking's cooldowns?
It's got to be so damn close. What's happening to the bot side? Observers, please take us back towards the north end of this. Actually, never mind, because the Kazin goes in for the knockup. What about the Missile Dive afterwards? They know what they're doing. The Observers smurfing their way towards us. Attila with a flash for the Binding Eclipse and first blood in the bot side. Attila maraud straight over. He'll make Genghis proud this time as Attila tries his very best to hold on. And he'll get out for now. Another route. It'll be another kill. Attila with 2 kills to his name.
Attila is not content with just ruining game 1 for Astralis with his late game Zeri. He comes out to 2v2 and gets a double kill in the 2v2. This is something that people say about LPL bot lanes all the time. You see jungler somewhere on the map, let's go, we're all inning. And this is, well, we didn't get to see all of it, right? Get to come back into this again. And this is just stepping up into Aphelios with the 3-weapon switch. This is something that we saw a lot from Azator in spring, actually, from Nariki's bot lane. What you end up doing is use the last of your ammunition on one weapon, spam it, run out of it, and switch through to something else. Comes through and Kasing with that loyalty program utterly saves the day for the turnaround.
Worth every penny to join in with that business. Those stocks paying dividends.
Industries.
Oh, doing so well. 2-0 already. And this is a bot lane we had questions about in lane. We said, look, Kasing and Attila, not known, at least individually, for their laning prowess. We saw a lot of mistakes.
Specifically in TVTs, yeah.
Exactly, some over-aggression. This time around, though, it earns them a massive advantage early on. We'll see whether they can continue to deliver, as Kiba has done what Kiba does, which is roam early on to try and affect mid lane.
What can you really do here? W's coming way up out. 10 might be forced to flash, but dodges the slow.
We'll get a little bit stacked on, but with that dodge of the tongue lash, we'll only get away with some harsh words from Tom Kench, who's wagging his finger at Ari in a threatening manner. Tongue lashing, see?
I'm not even gonna like deign that with a response.
Probably wise.
This is Tempt again, showcasing one of his main strengths as a player, which is just it's very hard to rock Tempt. Last game, Astralis had a pretty good crack at it. Gave him a couple of deaths in unfortunate circumstances, but on the whole, Tempt makes you really work to push this guy down in lane and buys him time from Keeper. Now, Viking has got his flag drag back, got through that combo. Tempt is bot side, he's level 6, and Chrisberg, once again, is forced off of tower. X7 are getting, I'm not going to say artificial advantages, but they're really forcing the issue into this bot lane and saying, you are not getting to lane for free, and Astralis mid-jungle are unable to respond.
That's always been the danger with Sivir. If she gets to lane for free, then you have a problem. This is really good work from X7. Exactly. Shout out Gregors, who's given us all that info. One of the old UK scene AD carries who loved the lethality on that champion back when that was a thing. Of course, now with the rework, back towards crit. And I do want to make this opportunity perhaps to talk about Viking, but more in the sense of X7, how they were doing before he came in and after, because it is a night and day difference. Even if the numbers individually for Viking aren't that impressive, the teams have been so much better with him involved.
Haven't lost a game with Viking yet. Well, Chasey wishes
against
Viking
Bifrost. They lost 1.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well,
Chasey,
either way,
maybe.
Chasey would love to have Viking here,
his numbers get a little bit ruined.
Oops. But, yeah, I mean, speaking of what Viking has done this game, though, like, it's not obviously been the most flashy stuff just yet, but right there in that bot side play, just making sure that Chrisberg can't get access to that farm. It's very important. That does rack up. We saw what happened last game when it came down to AD carries in the late game. Anything you're denying from these late game carries when you're getting towards their team fights means so, so much. When you have Sivir, Zeri, Aphelios on the table, that's always going to be a factor.
Does very, very well. And I'll take this moment as well to redress some issues from the first game. To Duckling out there, hashtag NLC pets. This is Charlie. He's enjoying watching Dusty versus JDXL. Was last week, of course, in that one, but more excited to watch Astralis stomp X7 on Wednesday. Another tweet with some of these Astralis fire memes coming out, this time Duckling throwing out his flags to the traders. Nice attempt there on the sweep from Sengus. Won't quite work as Tempt pulls the ultimate in trade. Doesn't have a lot of mana left, but can still look to try and trade out pretty well as Kasing comes in with a handshake to prevent too much of an easy follow-up.
It's just making sure, because like those plays are unlikely to lead to kills, but it's just making sure you're making the enemy mid laner's life inconvenient and you're getting to a point where you can really start doing a lot of work on those towers and those mini waves.
I appreciate the fact we bring up the Danish fans tweet and suddenly the Danish players make a play. There's maybe a little bit of something going on there. As Taxa starts up the early Herald here as well.
Yeah, well, Taxa won't have Senkux in lane to help him. He's triggering that recall right now. On the other side, Tempt gone for cooldown boots. Has picked up a Dark Seal though, so we'll see what happens if there are a couple of early kills. I am a big fan of stacking Dark Seal stacks into...
I've never mentioned that to me.
I've never mentioned that before on broadcast. And I've never mentioned the fact that Magi Soul Stealer is a core item in Ori, should be built very early into every game because it's a freaking snowball item. But anything less of that, because that won't happen, surely. But the Dark Seal is there on Tempt, and having those cooldown boots means, of course, you're going to have access to a couple more ultimates. Did have those boots built up for that ultimate usage just before, so that's going to affect that cooldown coming back.
Does indeed. It means he doesn't have it for this Herald fight should it come to pass, and Astralis thinking about coming over to contest, but it is right now a 4v3.
See how they contest this choke point. This is normally very difficult to walk through, but Astralis managed to get through it.
Does get a decent handshake down. Chasey doesn't really land the barrel charm, but a big charm on attacks to return makes this one difficult. Viking goes in, gets a cataclysm and a kill. Tempt burning down but staying alive. Viking has to flash, but Attila is here with red and white. The Severin crescendo means the mob with a big Mega Nara to the wall means Viking's in trouble. But what about that Moonlight Vigil? Attila picks up his third, and the blender is truly in action. He is shredding Chrisberg, who can walk no further. A 2-for-1 in favor of X7. And they get the Herald to boot as well as Tempt steps forward, but it's actually pretty low on HP. There needs to be very afraid. No heal on Attila. Flash forward, not quite enough. Has to heal back out from Chrisberg, who burns both summoners. Senko stepping forwards. Attila has got himself Gravitum thrown down with that Sentinel turret. And they'll get out alive. My God, Chrisberg saw it, but couldn't quite secure it with the ricochet.
What the heck? Right. What the hell happened to Herald during all of that?
It went over to... Did it not get picked up?
Wait, hang on a second.
What?
I was so focused on what was happening with that choke point, I was really struggling to...
Did they not pick it up?
We might see this in the replay. What happens to this? Right, so this is what I was really focused on, right? Because going through this thin point against Renata and Ari gets really difficult, right? So if Viking gets this,
He doesn't.
Oh, he commits to the fight. He doesn't pick it up. Okay, well,
there you go.
Mission solved, I guess. Mystery solved. But this is a real mess, right? Because I feel like X7, they peeled off of the fight because they knew that was the point to fight, but it's just a second or two late to defend the choke point that they really wanted to. They kind of bailed out, of course, by Attila coming in with a huge Moonlight Visual as well. That one, of course, stacking up Chakram so quickly. And, oh, yes, picks up that third, as you said. So X7 win out in the overall play, but not getting that Herald, it kind of sucks. You would love to have accelerated your AD carry even further with that.
Bring this graphic up again because we brought it up and it's again coming true. Attila getting the advantage in a matchup that often is very, very pivotal. You can see some of the discrepancies there in terms of the CS and the damage per minute. It showed in the first game, but that's this game and the last has been off X7 setting up Attila for success, and he's been delivering for the team.
It's not even 26 minutes yet. It's not even Artrom's Attila 26-minute rule. It's
26 seconds.
Will not need that amount of time to take down HP bars in late game fights. Let me tell you, he's got so much gold in this, and once again, it's going to be such a big
L-Force already.
Factor. And when you look at this kind of team comp as well, this is something which, okay, seeing anything is happening mid-lane.
Wondered that as well.
With Viker's looking there, but no. But yeah, this is something that Misfits do really well up in the LEC. What they end up using Aphelios for is kind of like pseudo backline dive, where you just kind of chuck an ultimate in there and hope for the best. But when Aphelios gets so much damage, you get to impact fights really, really well. You can see once again, he's got a lot of utility. He can very much like mess with the spot lane.
There goes the shield. Oh. Nowhere to go. Viking's got an option. It's a double kill already to Attila. I think Viking might be the sacrificial lamb. There is nowhere for the Prince to go. He'll get bailed out, but there's just not enough damage to kill someone else off. Keep alive at the top side, though. Chasey and Carlson trading out. The cannon barrage being used towards the bot side means there's not a lot for the Pirate to do. But onto Mininar they go, but there'll be a boomerang coming right back. And Chasey dies on the bot side, though. Senkox burning down, gets a shield from Shifting Sands, flash for an auto. Kazing brings him down, goes golden. And X7 outplay everything in the bot lane.
Everything is about this 2v2. 6-0 1 in 12 minutes. Tella's getting a kill every other minute. He's on an absolute rampage. Again, not content to just leave it at that game 1 late game performance. He's taking over game 2 from the start.
Well, that is quite the performance so far on the Aphelios. Can go back, picks up full boots, and I will be a little terrified to see what he picks up when he gets back. We'll go to the replay and hold our breath and see this again.
You know what? This could be any one of like 3 different plays which happen. We go right back to the start of this dive where you see that the Aphelios has really good quick burst utility weapons, not even items, those ones, right? Viking gets caught out a little bit behind enemy lines, but even with this, it just kind of keeps Astralis in the fight, and they don't want to give up this much territory. They do see on the other side that there's another wave coming in, and at this point, I think you'd be fairly okay to say, you know, the fight's over, but you hadn't even used the Moonlight Vigil at that point, and Senko goes just a little too far. The amount of tools which X7 managed to escape the initial dive from is really high, and I don't think Astralis expected that.
That's more plates over, that's more kills over, that is unerringly close to what looks to be either a bloodthirst.
It'll be a bloodthirst. Should be a bloodthirst.
Should likely be a bloodthirst.
Yeah, if you're not going for lifesteal,
Infinity Edge second would be bad.
Yeah. Gale Force Bloodthirster is a really good kind of. It's not the highest damage, but it's very good utility. It allows you to have good target access and just the ability to stay in the fight. He's going to be fighting a lot of PvE right now, though. He's just going to be pushing into these towers, and now, when you are this ungodly far ahead in the matchup, you do get to push towers really, really easily.
Chasey has to orange away the trade up here as Meganar comes through. He's down a couple levels, actually, so needs to be a little afraid.
Ooh.
Doing his best to trade this one up best he can, but to the bot side we go once more as Attila with that level advantage. Gale Force, for the mother of all damage, gets the crit there.
Yeah, that's Gale Force damage. Getting below a certain amount of HP. Remember, Gale Force actually does kind of have a pseudo-execute. It does about double damage on low health targets. So close to the kill. Absolutely wrecking balling through the bot side of the map.
And now with the plates falling, that tower is not long for the world. Attila will walk up with Crescendum to his name and likely secure first turret with little to be found for Astralis right now on the other side.
Well, I mean, at least on the side of Astralis, Carlson is playing with a point to prove. Got the solo kill a little earlier when Chasey committed that ult towards that bot side, but continually taking hard trades, getting a CS advantage, pushing down that tower's HP. It's not enough to break the game just yet, nor is it enough to even out this bot side, but it's something. And it does make me wonder, can Astralis at this point kind of triage the issues they're going towards and try and make the game not about the Aphelios, maybe unlock a side lane win condition through Carlson, who is currently getting the best of this matchup against Chasey.
So we've got ourselves the Herald spawned. Attila will roam over.
Oh, Kasing
is off vision and gets abyssally dived onto. Will use the bailout. Doesn't actually die quite yet. The turnaround is huge as the shot glass combo comes through. Cannon Barrage forced out a number of key ultimates. Chasing, looking for the barrel chain, won't quite land it as Carlson knocks the barrel out. As Temp goes forward, tries to get the charm, won't quite make it land. Has to flash out now as Attila is here. But I don't know whether they can still fight. Going to try and get towards
Attila's
Meganar,
in a
but
bit
that
of a weird
incredible use of that handshake. And what about the weird spot?
Yeah, Attila's not stood behind anyone, and that's normally not great for the fellas. Does have both summoners and a heck of a lot of damage. You can't afford to let this guy slip through your net, but Attila's not in the best place to be doing all of that damage. In the case, oh, so
Meganar was looking for it as Kasing taken very low. A Boomerang Blade would do it. The teleporting in behind gets bailed out, but will still likely fall. Will get that kill, 4th of the game for Carlson, but now he's on the wrong side. And the shutdown available on his skull means they're likely going to try and give this one over to Attila.
Oh, that's slick.
Gives him some options, but Chasey can now look to run at him. Takes another tower shot. There is a flash available for Chasey, and Carlson won't actually die as yet, looking to recall and get out to safety. He gets
Vikings
out.
go to see. Oh, he's used his E. They're not going to get him. Oh, Chasey. He couldn't even find him. Carlson gets out.
Absolutely stellar stuff from the Astralis top lane. Attila, though, still a bit of a terror here with the ghost popped, however, to that we one summoner down, teleporting behind. What the hell? They're going to keep going. Temp will not get shuffled. Carlson's here, but in Minar. Viking gets a knock. I'm going to attack.
What is happening?
Has to flash away. Carlson on the side looking for an angle. But what about the other side? Charm onto Kiva means it's Tom Kent as well and truly benched. What about the rest of the furniture? I think they're looking for the whole kitchen sink. Temp will not quite secure it. That's to go back to Chrisberg. And this fight is getting messy. Handshake onto Carlson. Viking on the other side did secure the Herald while that was happening. Chasey taken low. Senkuk's trying to secure the kill on the other side. Binding Eclipse onto Carlson's Meganar. Taken pretty low. Chasey on the other side trying to trade out best he can with the barrels. Using the zoning tools. Another slow from the Gravitum. And a handshake allows Attila to go godlike in this game. Bow down and worship. Ozymandias is well and truly here and his empire hasn't crumbled yet.
This is such a scrappy game, but you're scrapping against a team with a seriously powerful carry. You are going to lose split fights against a 7-kill 80 carry. Senkuk's tries to look for Chasey, doesn't have the damage just there yet. It's gone for a crown first. It's not the highest damage first burst item, but I am a little bit perplexed about what Astralis thought was going to happen in a lot of these players. It does seem like a lot of individual calls not quite working out. This is much less cohesive than it was in Game 1. That was one of the moments which was one of the big factors for them in Game 1. They were on the same page. They were managing to get onto the targets for large amounts of that game. Of course, late game was a different story, but in this one, X7, they are so more than happy to scrap him at this point.
Chrisberg on about 10 HP there, did survive Temp's dive and got one back, but it'll still be a 1-for-1. It'll still be the Herald going to Viking, who wasn't here for most of this fight. And what a handshake there. Flash for an attempt to kill with the Dragon Strike on a Chrisberg.
That's what we call a hands check, just seeing if the hand's on the keyboard. And Chrisberg does manage to press E, spell shields the Dragon Strike. But even with that, there's so many resources used, so many flashes used by Astralis that they're not really in a position to defend. They are starting to fall behind. They really want to be the ones making proactive plays at this point because it's so hard to outrange this X7 comp.
Seconds flash.
Even with your Sivir and your Zip.
Sing, handshakes there as well. And before I rudely interrupted my brother. Very good point there. As Temp goes over the wall, don't have time to talk about it. A cannon barrage afterwards. Hostile takeover means Keeper's got nowhere to go. Chrisberg in the Cataclysm. And Astralis are being, well, routed. There's nowhere left on the battlefield for them. White flags coming up across the mid lane.
That is a lovely angle from Tempt. Just jumps over the wall. He has an Everfrost, and that allows him to tag Keeper through the wave. That's one of the bonuses going for that item. You don't get to hide behind anything. Nothing blocks that Everfrost, but Carlson trying to get something back. Gets a tower. It's at the cost of his life. What else does he get?
Not got a shutdown on his head because he was claimed earlier. He's got a Meganar, gets him into the wall, but with Severum, Crescendum, and a Gale Force, nowhere to go. Yes. And the top laner that had been a bright spark is quickly snuffed out as the tower falls.
Yeah, were the KDA not enough for Attila? He's using nature language. Bright colors saying, don't fight me, I'm poisonous. Or in this case, just busts out a lot of damage. Very spiky. The red, white, Calibrum, not even needed.
Charm, there'll be an Everfrost afterwards, you expect. Does go wide this time. We're going to try to Pistol Dive out. Flash alongside the W, gets the Catfish out to safety.
But it feels like Astralis' best plays in the last couple of minutes have been escapes or near escapes. And that's what you're starting to determine this game on. X7, Astralis, so close in game 1, but this second game is not nearly the same. Chasey might be able to get shut down on both. With Taxa not being at the highest point in strength right now, not even willing to take that fight. Jungle at a top laner. X7 starting to really pull Astralis across the map, and Astralis are struggling to decisively make winning plays.
Yeah, they really are in this one, unfortunately. It's been a brutal game, all things said and done. Not too much more to be done about it. And a reminder, X7 win this, they are one game away from getting towards EU Masters.
Huge.
Astralis, after a game one that seemed oh so close for large portions of it, and off some phenomenal play, really, from Senkok Cesari. This time around, just doesn't seem to have found anything that will give them an option in this game.
Yeah. And, now looking at what Astralis can do to get themselves back into this game, they're doing what they can to get vision control, but they're not really a team with the best flank potential. You really are looking for Carlson to do some magic at this point. I feel it is all on this Gnar. What can you do with the lane allocations? What can you do with those big flanks? Has been shut down a number of times in the last few minutes.
As we look as this final outer tower falls, I hesitate to ask because I suspect it's going to be a little ugly to behold, but observers, can we look at the gold, please? And yeah, that's a bot gap. Ow.
I mean, Astralis has had like an unexpected like tax windfall or something, just like the government calls and goes, yo, Phalios, you need some cash.
Lunari Trust Fund, I tell you. Just come straight out. It's like, yep, I have bought my way through college. I'm nearly at my third item, my third certificate. I am ready and willing to take on the world. Everyone else can buy.
Stonks go up. Oh my word, that is just
no,
so
it's a fairly
crazy.
gain, not a fairly loss.
Fairly gains. Is that like part of the gym skin line?
I mean, I would, I don't know. Maybe that'll be another one. I'm trying to think of where to go with that.
I don't
one.
know, like
we'll avoid it for now. His temp gets jumped on. He's a knock-up. Doesn't really have anywhere to go. The bounce house comes through. He's got a flash and an ultimate. May need to burn both. Tax Central Viking tries to turn it around. The shield's out.
Oh no!
Murder them. It's all a bait. He was too tempting. And isn't that oh so appropriate? X7 get 3, including the jungler. Now Senkux and Carlson must prevent the Baron. But I don't think they've got anything to say about it.
Oh, our org who art in red side. Leaders not into tempt, but deliver us from Cannonball. I don't know, there's something unholy about that combo. It ain't really revered at X7. That is such a disgusting turnaround. You can see how desperate Astralis are. Much like in game one, actually, throughout the mid-game, X7 were the team that was struggling to reach their target, struggling to finish off those first kills. Astralis slapped in the face with that in this game, and it's getting harder and harder. Each time you fail this, the harder it gets the next time. And it was close-ish before. This is just so hard to stomach, though, because they get about the perfect CC combo. You get the knock-up from Tom Kench, knock-up from the 3 Talon Strike. They try to twin it into the Gore Drinker into the ult. It's just not enough. They're trying again.
Round 2 fight. Tempt's gonna get knocked up and finally taken down. My days, it took them so many attempts, but they get a kill into Senkux's hands. Prevent too easy a Baron shove, but this wave's getting shoved through mid, and
there's a teleport top side.
Yeah,
X7
for it.
Like, the resources used bot side give X7 the green light everywhere else after they've taken that Baron, so go pushing across the rest of it. But split, maybe Astralis can find something with the Sivir ult.
VV4 on the hunt they go. Kasing slowed down. We'll have a bailout. We'll have a flash that's required. Not use the ultimate quite yet. Doesn't have it available quite yet. Means Kasing about to fall does so. And they get another kill. The double teleports come through, but one of the turnaround. Viking to the back end. Attila doing his best as Chasey murders the Gnar. Look at the damage going through as Attila with the Dustwave doing what he can. Another one. A legend in this game. Double for Chasey. Cannon barrage afterwards means they cannot retreat. Senkux flashes the flag. The drag. The soldiers secure the shutdown. But Chasey gets the triple. Was it worth it, Astralis?
Oh, that is again a heartbreak. But X7 hold their discipline. That's been the word I would use for them in this game so far. X7, they overstay a little bit. This is something that we've seen ever since about, call it 2019, Season 9. This is something that G2 showed the world. If you're using a Baron and you just split yourself too thin, you get collapsed on, you get punished. Astralis try that here. They really try, but they just don't have the resources. They don't have the gold, they don't have the items. And X7 engaging into this comp is so difficult.
The binding eclipse stops Carlson getting an easy Mega 9. Yes, you lose Kaseng, but then Chasey, Viking, Attila in a 3 versus 5 murder Astralis.
This is really this has got to be so disheartening for Taxa and just everyone else on the roster here, because Taxa's actually doing a really good job of trying to beat that temporary front line, neutralize that range advantage, but Senkux and Taxa, they try so much. They try so hard. And Senkux does a damn fine job. Gets the 1,000 gold shut down onto the Astralis. That is relevant. That's all cool. You're almost at a 3rd item on Azir now. That's awesome. But you're still 10,000 gold behind as a team. Like, you're trying really hard, and the execution is almost there. But you've got a heck of a mountain to climb.
Yeah, and the problem is, well done. You've killed Attila once.
Do it again.
You've got to do it again
times.
and again and again. He's at 3 items, plus boots, plus another couple long swords. He's looking to... I mean, look at the side. Yes, Chrisberg's got a couple kills, but he's 2-5 and 2. He's down 2 levels to the other AD carry. There'll be a level 3 Moonlight Vigil soon enough.
Yep. So let's go reset a little bit again, because X7 sole point, then took the dragon in the last 30 seconds. Viking fishing once again, looking to be on the engage. But Astralis, we talked about them maybe trying to go towards those teleport flanks earlier in the game. They managed to pull off one, but what do they have to do that again? They don't have the teleports off of cooldown, and they are waiting at the whims of X7, and they're really waiting for X7 to make mistakes. But again, the word going to return back to it. Discipline. X7, first game, stayed in it, waited for that one opportunity. It eventually showed itself in this game. They got ahead, and they've just not given freebies. They've been taking the free wins. Oh my word.
Taxishan, he's getting devoured. That'll buy some time, but I don't know whether he's going to have much more to say about it. He will actually get out for safety, but Chasey, after a little bit of bullying in the early game, is now well and truly online at 3 items himself.
It's like, remember me from high school? Blam! Barrel. 2 of them in a row. And he's got the double armor pen crit items in 2. Jeez, this Gangplank putting out so much damage. For the early game, Carlson was doing work, but Chasey, with the help of the rest of his team, has started to really eclipse the rest of this build. Right, Astralis playing around vision traps. What can they do?
Can try and get him. Everyone's gone back. Vikings in trouble. Gets knocked up. Tries to flag a dragon away. Does for now. Doesn't have flash, but it's getting slowed down. Chasey's coming up. We'll have barrels to try and work with, but there's nobody going to get a cataclysm. Barrel chain afterwards. Just a normal. Another cannon barrage. It's going to come down to Moonlight Vigil there as well. My God, the damage onto 4. It's not quite enough to finish anybody off. But X7 tried to make the best out of that pick, but it's still a dead Viking nonetheless.
I was actually wondering if Attila was going to gale force forward and use those check rooms to good use, but not feeling quite so bold. Right, Astralis, those wards coming up pretty good here. Oh, move speed.
So much well. There's an onslaught afterwards. He'll get more move speed yet. Gets even more damage. The bailout's on for more attack speed. Nunu got blood boil removed, but Renata can do that just as well with this iteration of her kit. And they won't quite get the kill, but you can see that the bloodthirstiness that's happened from this bot lane. Attila has been a monster, frankly, in this game. And I'm beginning to worry. If the game 1 was close, game 2 has been anything but. Yes, this game isn't over, but it feels all but certain it's going X7's way. Have Astralis got to think about the next game already? They just need to stay in it.
You know what? Don't think the game's over just yet, especially when you have... I mean, so one thing we were talking about a little bit with the Jhin Zhao, I said it earlier into the game, and I feel like this needs a little bit of extra kind of context to it. I said that Jhin Zhao helps deal with range advantages. Now, when you look at a Sivir and an Azir, normally you think, hang on, that's pretty long range. What's happening with that? Now, Sivir needs a target to hit to be long range. You need to bounce that ricochet off someone. The way that X7 are playing is actually just allowing Astralis to pull into them. They're just folding backwards. They're using barrel chains as a front line, and Sivir doesn't ricochet off of barrels. You don't ricochet off of a Renata Glask ultimate, right? It's just not happening. So when you've got the Ahri and the Gangplank barrels and the Aphelios, actually feels like Astralis have to overreach to find their targets. And they're struggling so hard to take control of this territory once X7 claim it. They claim the Baron. Maybe they can get themselves a tower in response, but you're going to have to deal with X7. Maybe looking on the offensive now.
Gets the Frost. They're going to try and dive on, but there's still another couple of charges of the Spirit Rush. There's the cannon barrage afterwards, and I think that might be a 21-gun salute. Already dead. It is Taxa. Death and Taxus. We already knew they were linked together, but just like that, Senkux falls as well. The Shurima shuffle will not secure what they need. Carlson desperately flashes to clear the way, but there is no escape this time. The Gnar is staying straight back to the prehistoric Stone Age.
It's double teleports towards the top side, double wins back-to-back for X7. It takes a little while, but they managed to foul Astralis a second time in a row, and what an insane performance on this game by the Aphelios player himself, Attila.
And on the back of that Aphelios, on the back of a crushing early game, X7 moved to match point. X7 moved to 1 game shy of a return to the Amazon European Masters. One more to be done, unless Astralis can find some way, some miracle to find a way back in this series. Otherwise, X7 will prove why everyone was fearing them coming into playoffs.
Playing with their food, Nexus sure to fall, waiting to just buff some numbers, get those kills up in the board, and oh my word, that damage.
So much to work with, and X7 just like that. It's 2-0. We were supposed to have a 5-game series.